So Auschwitz was a moving experience, and I don't think one that we were going to do any kind of selfies in. So,
No.
not the regular type of video. Julie and I were traveling the world as roving retirees, trying to see what it's like to live in different countries and places, and we're sharing our experiences and expenses with you, and we also do the tourist things. And today we are visiting the Auschwitz Concentration Camp. During World War II, the Germans looked at the Jews as subhuman, and they killed over 6 million of them in concentration camps, as well as through murder all across Europe and the world. But also within Auschwitz, Poles died, Gypsies, and other races and religions that the Germans considered subhuman. If you've been following Julie and I, you know that I'm looking at potentially getting Polish residency due to my Polish heritage. And I started doing a little investigation, and I knew that time in Poland was very rough during World War II, that 17% of the people in Poland died, but many also died in the concentration camps. The last name of Mnich is not very common. There's only 4,000 around today. So virtually anybody with the name of Mnich in Poland, M-N-I-C-H, is probably a relative related to me in some manner. There were 5 Mnichs that died in Auschwitz. 2 others died in other concentration camps. 13 others were either executed or died in concentration camps. And 1 Mnich saved 200 Jews from extermination in Poland during World War II. I'm going to paste their names through this video so that they can be recognized and remembered. As we enter the first of the Auschwitz camps, the sign above says, "Work will set you free." More or less a sick joke that the Germans played on the prisoners coming in the gates. When people arrived in Auschwitz, they were sorted into 2 groups: the able-bodied and those that were weaker, disabled. Maybe they were mothers, they were children, grandmothers, the elderly, the crippled. They were instantly taken to the gas chambers where they believed they were going to be receiving a shower. They left their belongings behind, and they anticipated retrieving them later. This is a pile of 110,000 pairs of shoes. The last steps were heading towards the gas chamber. Suitcases with the names of the individuals, believing they would retrieve them once they were cleaned up. People would arrive here in rail cars. Often they would be stuffed into standing room only, some of them barely alive when the train arrived. Some died on the way. Of the 1.1 million victims here in Auschwitz, 232,000 of them were children. Hitler did not want another generation of Jews. Hitler's goal with Poland was to remove the Jews from the population, and once that was completed, the focus would have been on the Polish population at large. On September 7, 1939, Reinhard Heydrich stated that all Polish nobles, clergy, and Jews were to be murdered. On March 15, 1940, SS Chief Heinrich Himmler stated, "All Polish specialists will be exploited in our military-industrial complex. Later, all Poles will disappear from this world. It is imperative that the great German nation consider the elimination of all Polish people as its chief task." At the end of 1940, Hitler confirmed the plan to liquidate all leading elements in Poland. After Germany lost the war, the International Military Tribunal at Nuremberg trials and Poland's Supreme National Tribunal concluded that the aim of German policies in Poland, the extermination of Poles and Jews. Many people died by firing squad. Some people were hung in the public square to intimidate the prisoners. Sometimes starvation was used as a way to kill. Starvation was used as a punishment if somebody escaped. They would take somebody during roll call, or several people during roll call, and put them into cells and keep them there without food until the escapee was caught. In all known cases, those that were selected did starve to death. The Nazis needed to try to design a way to kill people quicker than hanging, starvation, and bullets, so they designed a gas chamber. After trial and error, they came up with their extermination method, and we're going to go ahead and walk into this gas chamber, and I'm going to remain silent so you can feel the experience. But this was literally the last sight that many Jews and Poles and other undesirables by the Nazis saw. The Nazis' victims never made it to this section. This was the crematorium. This is where the bodies were brought after they were gassed and burned. Rudolf Höss was the commandant of Auschwitz. On April 16, 1947, he was hung at these gallows that were built right near the entrance of the Auschwitz gas chamber. Auschwitz I was not efficient enough for the Nazis to kill as many people as quickly as they would like, and they needed a bigger oven to cremate bodies faster. So they came up with Auschwitz II Birkenau, a 500-acre super concentration camp. Cattle cars were used to transport the prisoners, the Jews, Jehovah's Witnesses, gays, as well as Poles and other undesirables such as the Romas, to the concentration camps. Auschwitz I was expanded to be able to hold approximately 30,000 prisoners. Auschwitz II, on 500 acres, was constructed to hold up to 125,000 prisoners. The train tracks came right to the middle of the camp. Prisoners were easily sorted. Able-bodied sent to work, where they might survive a month or two. The others directly to the gas chambers. The prisoners, of course, were led to believe they were going to take their showers and be reassigned to a barrack. The crematorium in Auschwitz I could only burn 340 bodies a day. The new design crematoriums in Auschwitz II would be able to burn 4,416 bodies a day. From 1942 to 1944, the average was 1,000 bodies that were burned daily. The busiest time at Auschwitz was from May to July of 1944, when Hungary rounded up all of their Jews and sent 437,000 Jews to the concentration camps, almost all of which were immediately exterminated. There were so many deaths that the crematoriums could not keep up, and many were burned in pits. During my research, I found out about a probable relative of mine, Gabriel Mnich, who worked as a driver during World War II, and he transported over 200 Jews to the Hungarian border in hopes of saving them. He was arrested by the Gestapo and was able to bribe his way out of the prison. After learning the fate of the Hungarian Jews, I'd like to hope that some of those Jews that he helped to save made it across to another border and into another country. The atrocities that were committed at Auschwitz and by the Germans were really unspeakable. And there are history revisionists out there that try to change history or to minimize it. And I encourage anybody that's going to be coming to Poland or in the proximity of one of the other concentration camps to please go out and visit it. For those that did not go directly to the gas chamber, life was not easy in the concentration camps. They had very poor living conditions, squished into small barracks with approximately 11 square foot per person allotted. The barracks at Auschwitz II had no insulation and gaps at the roof, letting in the cold Polish air. There were 744 people put into each barrack. They would sleep 4 to 5 on each bunk. Being on an upper bunk was preferred because due to dysentery, if you were on a bottom bunk, it would flow down. Breakfast was non-existent. It was typically a small amount of tea. The workday would start at 4:30 a.m. The bathroom bay had to be shared with thousands of prisoners. There was no real plumbing. Thousands would have to share 90 faucets and 58 holes for sitting in one of these latrine barracks. Much of Auschwitz II and Birkenau were destroyed by the Germans. Knowing that the end was near, in November 1944, Himmler ordered an end to the mass murder by gas, and on November 25th, he ordered the gas chambers and crematoria to be destroyed. Himmler ordered an evacuation of all the camps in January 1945, telling the camp commanders, "The Fuhrer holds you personally responsible for any prisoners falling into the enemy hands." Death marches from the camps began. Only those that were too sick to move remained. When the Red Army arrived, only 7,000 prisoners remained and 600 corpses. On January 26, 1945, right before the Red Army's arrival, Crematorium 5 was blown up. Items found were 837,000 women garments, 370,000 men's suits, and 7,000 kilograms of human hair. It was also believed that the Germans extracted about 50 kilograms of gold and precious metals from the teeth of the prisoners. Of the 8,000 to 9,000 staff that manned the concentration camps, only 789 ever stood trial. This was a tough video to put together. This is not the typical video that Julie and I put out. We hope that you'll appreciate the effort in this video and that you'll remember the victims of the Holocaust. Give this video a like if you felt it was informative, and we hope you'll subscribe and follow along with Julie and I as we travel the world with our two dogs, and we try to share our experiences and expenses with you, and sometimes we'll do the tourist stuff as well. So until next time, have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.